He spoke through famines and droughts and wars and exiles. He spoke through great victory, and he spoke through devastating defeat. He finds a way to speak, and yet in all of those things, John is adamant. Even in all this, no one has ever seen God. All these ways that God had spoken were real and they were good, but here's where we start. They are a shadow. A shadow of what? And a shadow of who was to come. To use the language we've been using here the last year or so, put that word shadow in your backpack. Because we're going to see it and talk about it a lot as we journey through Hebrews. See, we tend to think that if something is good, then it should last. Right? We get sad when a good meal is coming to the conclusion. We get sad when a good TV show doesn't get renewed for another season. We get sad when our favorite athlete decides it's time to retire. We get sad. I was at a funeral today for a gentleman that I've known the last few years. He was 95 years old. He had served the Lord for the majority of his life. He had led people to Christ. He had done great work. I'll be honest, wasn't a day to be sad. Yet in us, if it's good, we always believe it should last. We say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But God is a builder. That means that God is always adding more blocks. He's always pointing forward. He's always moving us along. In the Old Testament, we see that the tabernacle was good, but it was a shadow of what was to come in the New Jerusalem. The law was good, but it was just a shadow of the new covenant. The sacrifices were good, but they were just a shadow of the one sacrifice that would break the power of sin. The priesthood was good, but it was just a shadow of the high priest that would intercede for us at the right hand of God. The Shekinah glory was good, but it was just a shadow of the Holy Spirit coming to live in us rather than being somewhere we would visit occasionally. See, here's this mistake we make. We sometimes read through and we think if Israel had been obedient, then these things wouldn't have changed. No! This was always the plan of God. The tabernacle was always temporary. The law was always temporary. The priesthood was always temporary because Jesus was always coming. And so the work of God was not based on our obedience or disobedience. It's based on His plan, His nature, His character, and His faithfulness. And so Israel didn't ruin anything. God used Israel to show us that even when we are faithless, He is faithful because He will not deny His name. And to give us what He always planned on giving us, Himself. Jesus, the Messiah.